I mean, I'm not going to go high. But if I don't go high, we won't qualify for the high-rise subsidy. And if I don't get the high-rise subsidy, I won't meet the yardstick. And if I don't meet the yardstick, we won't be rising at all, high or low. And don't, for God's sake, ask me what the yardstick is. How HCY1, housing cost yardstick 1. And of course I'll fight. Of course we'll reach compromises, I'll get waivers, but when I think of the struggle it's going to be, when I think of all the words, all the paper, all the anger, all the dust, all the mud. Because I'm not going to build towers. Nobody wants to live in a tower.
I'd like to live in a tower.
Colin, why can't you ever be serious?
Oh, I'm serious. You build me a really high tower, David, and I'll go and live at the top of it, surrounded by silence. Silence and empty sky.
Don't be silly, Colin.
Lifts would keep breaking down. You know those places, isn't it?
Perfect.
You'll meet your neighbours. You wouldn't see a living soul from one week's end to the next.
This isn't a block of flats you're describing, David. It's paradise.
No, we liked them. We really did. I wasn't just running a soup kitchen. Well, we liked him. Well, David liked him. But he did actually urge David to build tower blocks. It's quite funny when you think what happened later. It was just part of the game, of course. David was against them, so Colin was for them. But he wasn't serious. David pretended not to be serious, but in fact he was. Well, that's why Colin could always get a rise out of him. Colin one end of the table grinning, David the other end frowning. Me putting in a word here and a word there, trying to redress the balance, and Sheila sitting there like the dormouse, not saying anything at all.
Come on, my lad. You talked enough for one evening.
More wine, more coffee, more something.
Which of us has the harder job, do you suppose? You getting rid of us, or us getting away from you?
I can't think now which year that would have been. 69, I suppose. Or 70.
68. That was the year. He started on Basuto Road in April, just after Lizzie's birthday. They were such good friends, it was lovely. You felt you could always pop across the road for a chat. I used to go flying over there at all hours. I'd just slip a coat over my shoulders and push their front door open and ooh! And Jane would be rushing around doing 15 different things at once. And I'd just sit there and watch her and I'd think, if only I could be like that, if only I got her energy. And the colours in the kitchen were so warm and friendly, and David would come popping in for a moment on the way to one of his sites, and the children were lovely, and they'd all make you feel you belonged there. I cry sometimes now when I think about it.
Poor old Sheila. Always flying over with some new disaster. The washing machine had overflowed. The lavatory was blocked. Matt or Lizzie was ill. Matt and Lizzie were always ill. You'd be working in the kitchen, say, and you'd suddenly become aware that there was this little voice somewhere in the house going, woo-hoo, woo-hoo.
I wish you wouldn't say ooh.
You could say something.
Could lock the front door.
No, we couldn't.
Some people lock their front door.
Not us.
And why did you say it's me or anyone at home? Or...
Anyone at home?
Hello, Sheila. Just in time for coffee.
Oh, Jane, I can't. Hello, David.
You're looking lovely. Big kiss. See you later, I expect.
Got to get Matt to the hospital. He's got an appointment at 11.
It's 11? Oh, I better run you there in a minute.
Oh, dear, this is awful. I must learn to drive.
We'll get David to teach you.
Colin will never buy a car, of course.
I hate them too.
And on Saturday, I've got to get the children to my mother's.
Learn to drive, Sheila, then you can borrow the minibus. Hold on, I'll get the keys.
She must have thought I was awful when I look back on it. I practically lived over there. The children would come looking for me. They'd be hungry. And before I knew what was happening, Jane would be making them baked beans and egg soldiers and things they'd never eat at home. They'd tuck into perfectly happily over there. Her children were older, of course. I suppose Matt and Lizzie being there was almost like having two more in the family. They'd all disappear upstairs and watch television together, and the next thing I knew, there'd be a glass of wine on the table in front of me, and Jane would be urging me to ring Colin and stay for supper.
Well, you didn't get to the shops today, did you?
Hey, Colin, it's me.
You're at Jane's.
I'm at Jane's.
She's inviting us for supper.
She says, why don't you come over and have some supper?
You're in love with that woman.
She thought the children could have a bath here and they could sleep in the spare room.
Did you hear what I said? I said you're in love with her.
That would be super.
She sometimes invited us back, of course.
Oh, no. No, 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 I can't. I'm ill. I got architect's elbow.
David, we have to make the effort once in a while.
But it'll be cold and dark brown, and Colin will be in a funny mood, and there'll be trouble with the potatoes, and...
Sheila, I'm terribly sorry. David's got a meeting on Wednesday evening.
Thursday? Or Friday? The following week sometime.
Sheila, why don't I give you a ring when we're clear of work and holidays and children and parents and things?
They came to us sometimes, a few times. But we went on walks together, we went on picnics. We always used to say, if we're going with the Kitzingers, we know the weather will be fine. And it always was. It always was.
The children always complained about it, of course. Do we have to go with the Molyneux? Yes, we do. Why do we have to go with the Molyneux? Because we've got a car and they haven't. They're so boring. And Matt and Lizzie smell.
And once, when we were on our way back from somewhere, David took us to see Basuto Road. I don't remember what it looked like now. All I can remember is David making this great gesture with both arms, like a magician commanding up a vision, and me feeling terribly happy. I don't know why.
No, listen, forget all these houses, Sheila. Forget all these little streets. What we've got is very roughly a triangle. See, Main Road, Bechuana Road, railway. I tell you what I'm thinking of doing, Sheila. I'm thinking of a courtyard. 2 sacrificial slab blocks.
2 what?
Sacrificial slabs. All right, Colin, all jokes and writing on the back of the postcard, please. 2 long slab blocks that sacrifice daylight on the outside to protect the rest of the scheme from the noise of the road and the railway. 6 or 7 stories high, blind walls on the outside, and all the flats facing inwards into the morning and the afternoon sun, onto the gardens and the play areas, onto the life of the community.
Sounds a bit like your old college at university.
Exactly, Sheila. Absolutely. I predict a first.
God, if I said something right for once.
You put your finger on the basic principle of all modern British architecture.
That college wasn't 7 stories high, and it didn't have a railway running down one side of it.
No, but she's got the general point. I mean, we felt like a community because the building had turned its back on the rest of the world.
What did the rest of the world feel like?
Well, you were in another college.
That's what I mean.
Well, of course you were in another college. You were in a women's college. We were in a men's college. That was silly.
Oh, wonderful. A row. Don't stop.
I'm not right.
I'm rowing.
Sheila's withdrawn to a tactful distance.
No, no.
A little chat about the old days of my pet. Look, she's feeling all excluded.
I'm not. I'm very interested.
Come here, Sheila, my favourite pupil.
I was just thinking, it must be wonderful to change things. Must be magical to see some new thing that wasn't there before and say, I did that.
No, it's not, Sheila. It's heartbreaking. It's always just warped windows and condensation problems. It's going to be so new and amazing. It never is. It's always just like everything else. Tell you what's wonderful, Sheila. I'm not talking to you two. I tell you what's really magical. A bare building site. Something still quickens in me when I smell that raw, damp smell of green brickwork and wet cement. I love those huge holes in the ground when people are going to go really high. Amazing emptiness, like the emptiness of a conjurer's hat because, you know, marbles will come out of it.
Some elegant new concrete block in the East End blew up last week.
One flat blew up. It was a gas escape.
The whole lot came down like a pack of cards.
One side came down.
Progressive collapse.
Because it was system built. The walls were holding up the floors. I should use a steel frame.
The words will outlast the building, even so.
What words?
Wonderful words. Progressive collapse.
I knew what David meant, though. Something coming, yes. Something new. Everywhere we went with them, the trees were alight with fresh green. And yes, we had rain sometimes.